iHub. I'm thrilled to bring you an inspiring guest who has a career span of 27 years in tech and innovation. From his early start of Honeywell to his current role as a vice president at Thomson Reuters, he has been pivotal and shaped many critical platforms. In this episode, you will see his experiences, success, and challenges he has faced. I know we are all excited, and I am too. So let's welcome Mr. Umashankar Vetrivel. Welcome and thank you for being here with us, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting me. Thank you.
So,
Looking forward for a very interesting discussion.
sure, sir. Without further ado, let's get started. It's Let's Talk, and I'm your host, Aisha. To start off, Mr. Umashankar. So, as a career as impactful and impressive as yours, you'll have faced many experiences and challenges faced. So, what motivated you to be at this position?
I think first thing is having conviction about your talent. I think you're trusting your passion and going at it. I think that's a foremost thing for anyone to build a career. I know there are people who are really tech savvy. They may not be career oriented people, right? They just wanted to do what they wanted to do. And there are people who attach business values into it, and you want to become a business leader. I think that's the difference. I think you need to trust your in senses so that you can progress your career based on it. I think each challenge when we face through again, not that any leader wouldn't have faced any career, they would have grown just like that, because every career has a challenge it comes with. I think as long as you don't see that careers as a challenge as a barrier to your career, I think you're good. I think as long as you're ready to take on a challenge. I think every time when I had a role in any of the previous experience I had, I never felt I worked in the same company for so many years, because every time when I go to a new role, I like to be challenged. So if I'm not challenged, I look for a change. I think that's the mantra I followed throughout my life. So there are roles where I'm not being challenged. I'm doing the regular. The moment you get satisfied, you lose your innovation. You lose your think about growth. So start challenging yourself. Is that something more I could do? Is it that something which I can really bring it to the table? I think that's the purely from attitude perspective. That's the change. The other one is a learning. There's a continuous learning which happens through your life until your death. I think there's never a day in my life where I haven't learned anything new. Even now, today I was learning quite a few things from all you people with interaction. Not that I'm trying to mentor you, give my experiences. In the written, I got a lot of insights about how the future the startups like this work, and how Gen Z works, how Gen Z thinks. Right, a lot of things which I learned, which was quite useful to me. I think that's the one thing which should never stop in your career. I think that's what keeps you going, right? That will keep marching your goal. Rest of the thing will happen automatically. And again, never get scared of any change. Any big change, transformation comes, get quick and get accustomed to it as soon as possible, right? I think adoption is the most critical thing now. I think if you sooner you adopt, better for you. I think these are the three simple principles in life which I follow. I think that probably one of the reasons where it got me here where I am now.
That's really inspiring. So, according to me, I do AI. I use AI. So, do you think will AI replace humans?
My strong answer is never. AI is never going to. Nobody's going to replace human. Humans are humans. Human brains are human brains. I think AI would never replace us. If you don't learn AI, someone who knows AI will replace you. I think that's my thought process so far. That's what I've experienced it. This is what I keep telling my staff and my engineers, saying that don't get scared of AI, right? Just make sure that how do I embrace into my business? How do I make things better using AI? I think for that first we have to equip ourselves, upskill ourselves to go to the next level of transformation journey. I think one big difference between the earlier technology transformations and AI is the pace which is happening is very high compared to rest of the technology transformations like cloud and internet transformations were little slower. It goes for 4 to 5 years. Traditionally, I've seen in my experience, there is a massive technology transformation every 5 years, but AI is not like that. It's much more faster. It's changing quite rapidly, which is, and this is one technology transformation hitting across sectors, across domains, across everyone's life. Starting from your day one, you start using your gadgets at home until what you purchase in online Amazon, everything is disrupted because of AI. So I think this is one thing which we cannot ignore as humans. Just because it's an artificial intelligence doesn't mean that human doesn't have intelligence, but definitely it's not going to replace us for sure. But I think it will throw out a lot of opportunities for us to become a probably much more better thinker, and then also we'll also become probably do a much better job than what you're doing now, or probably you'll do a much more value add to what you're currently doing. I think that's how I see AI.
So I'll have to upgrade myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have a lot of viewers like school students, college students, and professionals. So how do we variate them using prompting? Like how should they use prompting?
I think prompting comes really with the domain knowledge. I think you should know your problem statement so clear that you know what is the result you're expecting. You know what is the kind of source data what you have. I think source data is, I would think it is a garbage. Assume that there is a treasure hidden in the garbage. How do I, unless I use the right word, unless I understand what is the treasure in, I can't put the prompt. I think that's how the prompt, be it a students or be it in academic domain or be it a financial domain or be it a healthcare domain. I think you should know the domain first, and also you should know the problem statement well, so that you can what you don't know the answer. It's going to take you some time to process the answer, but that is lying somewhere, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
then what is the best way to do? Maybe instead of asking 10 questions, can I ask 2 questions, which is more crispier and which
Sure.
more relevant? I think the more relevant questions is part of prompt engineering. I think because even if there is a 20% improvement in the way I ask question, it's going to give you another 40% better results. For example, some of the prompts, maybe after a sixth prompt, I may getting a close, accurate answer, but I can make it happen in the second attempt once you start training them. So the only way it can get better is start training your models through the feedback, human feedback. And I think, for example, when you start with a prompting of first of probably to get a closest answer, you would have taken 6 questions, right? In the sixth question, what have you learned? That should become your next prompt exercise, so that I don't make those mistakes and I only ask the relevant and which is more relevant to the content what I
Exact
have.
one.
I think that's the difference, in terms of prompting, and that's why you call it as more logical and more crisp towards the data, so that you get. Another reason why the data needs to be clean is, if the data is a garbage, if it's not a clean, you're not going to get the right prompt ever. So clean the data first, then you put the right prompt, you're going to have it. I think that's how I see it.
I get
That's
the
my
point.
experience. Yeah.
So, like from the start of your career to till now, like how have you analyzed problems? Like how do you manage to solve problems?
I think first thing I do is I keep saying that I would have heard several times. So fall in love with the problem, right? Problem is always a problem. I don't think there is any problem in the world that doesn't have a solution. I think every problem has a solution. Only thing is it takes time and it takes conviction to probably get into the problem and I understand that's a problem, right? I think that as a human being, we all know everyone has a problem. If you come to personal life, right? I think the hardest thing will be to accept the reality, right? Hardest things will be accept what is my deficiencies. I think that's how the problem. That's how I look at it as a problem. Right? If I don't accept my problem, I'm never going to solve it. Similar way, when I look at a business problem, I really try to validate, fall in love with the problem, so that you start enjoying it. What is the real problem is. Treat yourself as a customer, and then probably start looking at it. Then I think you will really look at solutioning part of it. So if it is my personal problem, how do I solve it? What are the right questions should I ask? What are the systems I need? What is that it'll help me to make my life better? Obviously, we all talk about career, right? You want to have a better life, and you want to have better things to do in life because of your education and the support to what you got in family. I want to go to the next level. What do? You're trying to get better at what you're doing. I think that's the same way. When you see a problem, never get scared of a problem and never undermine a problem. Probably I would say more than solutioning, right? Probably spend a lot of time in discovering the problem and understanding the problem, understanding the customer pain point. Then probably problem solving becomes easier, because nowadays you have tons of automation solutions available like AI, which can give you solutions in no time. But are you having a right problem, to solve? Another one is, have you have enough understanding about the problem? I think that's the difference. That's how I like problem solving, because I love problems.
That's really nice. Sir. So, how do you manage with technical and communication skills? Like, do you require both, or only technical skills is enough, or communication skills is enough?
I think it depends on the role, but I would say both are important for any role you play, whether be it a technical role or be it a managerial role. Let's take an example of, if you're a pure techie, an architect, I want to only be technical side. That alone doesn't solve your problem, because if you're not able to articulate your technical skills to someone, somebody is never going to probably untap your potential, right? Okay, for example, oh, Aisha is technically so good. How do I know unless you prove it to me? I think that's where the soft skill come into picture. The how part, I think, same way, right? If somebody could be very good in doing a business, you may not have a technical flavor of it, right? So you need to strike a right balance. Depends on what role you're playing. For example, there are people who in a management role. They need to know what's happening in the technology. They need to be on top of things. Meanwhile, they should probably focus on the business problem than the technically solving the problem. Somebody sitting on the technical side, You should be more deep into technology, but you should also able to understand the business problem. Otherwise, the what he is solving, will not actually solve the business problem, right? You would have missed some of the critical parameters. That's the reason I see this a strike. You have to strike a balance. Be it a technical role, be it a management role. I think you have to be on both sides. Depends on which role you take, what percentage. But one thing is which non-negotiable is a soft skill and a storytelling skills. I think unless you are not able to tell your story, unless you are not able to probably articulate your problem statement or even your skills, I think that's a problem for me, right? You need to fix that first.
That's really fascinating, sir. So, according to me, machine learning means like to train my chatbot without programming. So, can you please explain me more about machine learning?
I think machine learn is nothing but probably it's like how you train your brain on something. For example, when you do things over a period of time, that becomes an habit, right? Somebody who is living in the village who goes to the city, he never got used to this, the style of the speed that it works, the way it works. He gets accustomed to the style of his life over a period of time, right? The kind of clothes we wear, the kind of language what we speak, the kind of habits what we have, everything becomes a part of your life, right? It means it's somehow you're training unknowingly, right? Practically, that's what now we are trying to do. How do we probably help to train machines for human brain, how human brain thinks? In the simplistic terms, how a human thinks, for example, a summarization or a classification problem, what we have, how do you go about? Okay, you read, then you take notes, you literally make a summary of 5 pages into a probably 25 lines. That's we call it a summary, right? It means you're literally trying to grasp everything. It means you're dumping garbage into your mind, then probably trying to clean up and get it to a shorter story, right? That's exactly what machine learning is doing. So we are trying to teach the machines. That's again is human. That's why I said human can never be replaced, and humans are the one who are training machines, right? Machine learning is nothing but how machine could probably catch up with some of our logical thinking, some of our structured thinking. I think that's what we teach machine learning. I think that's a core principle of how machine learning is evolved. Rest of the algorithm who sits in more on implementation, how do you mine your data, how do you get the right output out of it, is algorithms. But how machine learning could be so important is that unless you probably fundamental strategy of having a machine learning is to teach them how human thinks, right? As simple as that. It's not as simple, right? Human brain is so complicated. That's why machine learning becomes so critical, because to train something closer to human brain is not easy, right? That's why machine learning comes into picture.
Now, as I have a clarity in machine learning, so failure has been tasted by everyone. What is your opinion on failures?
I don't think any human being would have been ever successful ever. I think there has to be a failure at some point, and everyone would have failed at everything, at some point, right? Not that I'm successful in everything I'm doing, and then it means he's lying, right? It's definitely not truthful, or he's not truthful to himself. So again, the same here. The failure is part of your life cycle in project, and the thing is what you learn out of the failures. I think that's the most critical part of it. Every failure would have taught you some lesson, so that should never get repeated. I think if one thing which I say, failure which I learned, what I learned, if I repeat, then it's your wrongdoing, right? Should never again repeat the same mistake again, and again fail fast. Always I believe in the strategy of failing fast. I don't want to fail when the product is done 80%. I will probably fail in the first 20% so that I can iterate, make adjustment. For example, if you want to make an adjustment in 20% is easier, or when the product is built up to 80% is easier. Obviously, it is the simplest way to do is as it's smaller. So it's, for example, right? We all say, right? It's teaching multiple languages to kids are very easy because they're small, they're growing up. They haven't gotten accustomed to some kind of an habit or language. When you grow up as an adult, you find it difficult to learn the new culture, learn the new knowledge. For the kids, my kid speaks 5 languages because they learned it while they're growing. I can't speak. I can't speak more than 2 to 3 languages because we already grown up. It's tough to learn. I think that's the same way it works. I think the iterations are so simple now in the given agile world. I think don't worry about failure. That's what I say, right? Keep failure as a learning. Even we have a mechanism in corporates now. We even award good failures. What I say good failures is we award people who failed fast, and we were on a real larger objective but failed because of probably for other reason which is not in their control. I think that's what you should focus on. So don't take failure as a setback, failure as a learning. That's what I would say.
That's really fascinating. So, according to you and our students, like when you're hiring a person, what are the 3 tips or skills you are required for them?
I think definitely the 3 things. Start thinking about what is that you're good at it. I'm being a technical person. I want to grow technically, or I'm being a more of a soft skill and program management, which I can business problems and I can solve. I can want to become an entrepreneur. Then I really wanted to. I think it really depends on your conviction about what you are at. I think that's the foremost thing. And the second one is, if you're trying to apply for a job, you should know what you're applying for. Just go and just sit in the general job interview saying this, start attending whatever it comes. I think about what is suitable to you, your nature and skills. Then third one is the soft skill, which is I keep saying this, which is definitely non-negotiable for any role. I think that's why the storytelling comes into picture.
Yes.
What we talked about earlier. I think these are the three skills. One is obviously the core technical skills where you're good at it, where you wanted to really grow your career. And second one is make sure that you are able to articulate your story and you're able to come to the point and never hesitate to say no. For example, you don't know something, right? Rather, I would say don't know than giving a wrong answer or trying to manipulate the answer. I think that's how the people are getting judged in interviews. I think your truth will come out in the couple of questions. You don't need to be fake about yourself. Never be fake about yourself. True to yourself when you're interviewing. That's why I say again that soft skills are important. You may be true to yourself by heart, but if you're not able to articulate it outside, it becomes a problem, right? It means, you may not be good in telling the story to others, and how do you be able to convince? So I think those are some of my tips which I followed in my life, which helped.
That's really nice, sir. Lastly, for our viewers, do you have any advice?
Always stay curious. That's most of the time I give it to my staff as well, irrespective of your age, irrespective of you're all young generation than some of us, but stay curious. Listen as much as possible. Course correct as it needed. There is nothing like constant in life. Things change. That too, now things change at a very rapid pace. It means that you got to get accustomed to the change management. I think maybe I will end with this. Change is the only constant in life. So be curious always.
I'm sure our listeners would have got a lot of useful insights today, sir.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for joining with us today.
Thank you. Thanks for hosting me. I hope it is helpful for all. Thank you.
Sure. Until next time, keep watching Let's Talk, and I'm your host Aisha signing off. Thank you.